Hello everybody, welcome to another video. This has been kind of postponed for a while. This here is my 1969 Oldsmobile 442. And I'll say right off the bat that it's a clone. It's not the real thing. It's a great car, got a little history. It's been kind of in the family for probably about 15 years or so. My uncle owned it originally out of Long Island, New York. When he got it, I guess it probably had been resprayed one time. I think the car was originally black, but I haven't verified that. And all he really did was just buff it a ton of times. He debadged the Cutlass badging off of it. And he added the 442 badging. You know, and it's been so long, you can kind of almost start to see where that Cutlass badge was at. You see that? Yeah, that's... Need to touch up a little of that. See, this was the S of the Cutlass S, and here's where the Cutlass emblem went in cursive there. Same on the other side. But I think the car's had a little bit of sheet metal work before my uncle got it. Like, you know, I've just from looking down up under here, you can kind of tell. But it's a really straight car. Runs really good. When he had it, he had the red pinstriping added on after the fact, and that's actually a real option you could have had back then on a car instead of having a colored striping. They're also down here up on the hood. You can see, and it's a very straight car. After my uncle had it, he sold it to my mom. He had it for about 13 years. He sold it to my mom, who she had it for 6 years. And she upgraded and picked herself up a 70, which is the red with the white stripes 7442. That's also on my channel. That car's hers now. Between her and I, we kind of worked out a deal. She sold me this and she bought that. As you may know, I already have the 68. So I'm I got a project car and I got a shiny car. Kind of hard to allocate, you know, where you want to put your money, you know. Do I upgrade this thing, or do I sell the 68 and we'll just work on this? I haven't done anything to this. I replaced the water pump about early last year because that was starting to make a lot of noise. That's about all I've done to it. My 68, I'm in the final stages of kind of getting the motor redone. It's running good, that car. But let's talk about this thing. So my mom had it for about 6 years and I've had it for a little over a year now. And really I haven't done a thing. It still has its points ignition, which I got that ready to install at some point. Still got the factory 2-barrel carburetor, which is, you know, okay. It's not gonna scream like my mom's 70 does, or even my 68 with the Quadrajet. It's a very smooth running car. It gets great, not great, for what it is, it gets good fuel economy with the 2-barrel, and it can get out of its own way, and it's a fun car. Look around a little bit more here. As you can see, you know, it's clearly been redone. You know, it doesn't have its original stickers here anymore. But about everywhere I've looked on the car, it's black. So either it was totally stripped down and painted, or this car was originally a black car, and I need to decode that cowl tag down there and really figure it out. Really all I know is this car was made in Canada. That's about all I know. So here's some light. Now this light is probably showing every crumb on the floor and everything, because it's very tough to keep black looking great. I did change the fuel sending unit. This gauge wasn't working when I got it. That was pretty easy. Drop the tank, change the sender. But I think these are original seats. They got the original diamond pin pattern. I need to figure out how to get this piece of upholstery back on there. My uncle, who owned this car, he also built a 69 Hurst Olds clone. Which is the same year car, gold and white. I'm sure you all know it. That car is also on the channel. I'll drop a link in the description of that. That car, he borrowed parts from this. He had two 69s, both with a black interior, at the time before he sold this to my mom. He kind of combined the best of both cars, and he saved them for the Hurst. And this car got, you know, the not so good. So you can actually see, like on the diamond pinned out pattern on here, it's a little more worn than the pattern on the opposite side, and same over here. Kind of tough to tell, but you know, that's how he did it. It's got one of these here converted stereos. It's got a tape deck, but the rear has an aux port, which is nice to jam out. And it got these pretty nice Kenwood speakers back there. A lot better than the original AM single speaker radio that this probably had. It's a fun car, and it turns a lot of heads, because when do you see a triple black vinyl black inside car like this? Not very often. So I think it's time to fire this turd up and go for a cruise. Gotta pump it. Get a little closer look here. See, we got the 442 grill. The Cutlass grill is regular slots. The 442 grill is black, and they are smaller slots. You do need a front bumper. This guy is cracking up. Probably the original bumper. We did get the 442 rear bumper. My uncle did that when he had it. Has the cutouts for the dual exhaust. And it's very shiny. Much shinier than the front. Wheels are in great shape. They are colored for the proper 442 wheels for 69. Gray. They are not body colored for 69 or 68, I don't think. Right. Straight up you go. Has new insulation, which is pretty nice to see. Clips broken, every other one. Got a couple of these parts store circular ones just to hold it on. It was drooping pretty bad. Huh, I just noticed this. See this stripe of grease? That's where the AC compressor shows that's leaking fluid right out. Interesting. Yeah, this pulley's making a little knocking sound, so I pulled the belt off. Other than that, it kind of gets cold. It's not very cold. So that's gonna be my next place I put money in this car, is probably getting this thing converted to a R134A AC. Because as you can probably guess, summers in this thing, especially here in New Mexico, are pretty unbearable. It's a 350 2-barrel, the original Cutlass motor. My uncle painted it bronze, which is the color that the 400 cubic inch would have been for 442. If you're kinda sneaky, you can still see gold paint in some spots, but not too bad. Do need new stickers. The weather just eats these suckers up. I remember when these were cherry looking stickers, and now they've looking pretty old. This power brake booster and master cylinder is brand new. We had to get that. And now, as I said, we do have a 2-barrel dual jet, but it works good, as you heard. Got the original distributor and coil down in there, so that's kind of neat. You know, it's crazy to think that this car is almost 50 years old. Next year in 2019, this car is going to turn 50, which is pretty crazy. The suspension is pretty squishy, which is something I'd like to maybe put some time into. This car was actually the smallest, you know, Oldsmobile sold in 1969 out of the lineup, compared to the Vista Cruiser, the 4-door Cutlass, or the 88 or 98. This was the smallest, most nimble car in the lineup, which is kind of funny to think about, considering it's about 17 feet long. Here's a good pull. So that goes. Cool vented air. Now that's cool and refreshing right there. Yes, it does have a highway gear in the rear end. It's about a 273 or 278, something rather. So it's a great highway cruiser. Maybe someday I'll change that out and get rid of this old turbo 350 and slap a 200 R4 in it. Your entry to the GMA body is a little cheaper and easier to get into for a Buick Olds or Pontiac than it is finding a Chevelle, which everyone wants. The price of these Chevys these days is just so ridiculous. You know, I see quite a few dry, really great Chevelles. You know, probably in the state that my 68 is in. And people want like 8 to 15 grand for these cars, and they're just garbage and not worth it for that price. Looking for your Olds, your Buick, your Pontiac, you know, you're really gonna save a lot of money, and you can really wind up with this very similar car. But this is a fun car. It's good on gas. It's quick. It's smooth. It's a little squishy. And then you can slide across this bench seat if you're not holding on too good. Well, look at that guy. That's cool. One thing added by my uncle before he sold it, he put in the tachometer here, which for some odd reason only runs to 3,000. It pegs out and stops, and I don't know why. So if anyone knows why this tach stops right before 3,000 RPM, you know, let me know. Up to that, it's fine, and I'll zoom on that when I come up to a stop. It works, but why? I don't know. He didn't wire up the clock because really, what's it gonna do? It's just gonna drain your battery if you're not running the car all the time. So I don't think he hooked up power to the clock. Let's get into the passing gear here and get around this truck. So you hear that kick down? much wide open. Woohoo! First gear. Now we're wide open. She'll pull pretty good. This is something I would like to swap out, is that steering box to get a little bit of a tighter ratio on the steering wheel. Because, you know, turning through parking lots and stuff, you are lock to lock. It's just so many turns. And it's kind of, that's something I think would be a good upgrade to do. And I did a little reading on it, and you can actually put I've seen people put a box in from a Jeep Grand Cherokee or something. Yeah, let's look at that wheel. Look at this. Oh yeah, here we go. It's just the power steering. It works great, and you can turn it with just a pinky finger, but just the number of turns is so much. I do love these A-bodies. They are my favorite platform of car. They came in all shapes and sizes. You could get a wagon, you could get a 2-door, you had 4 doors, you had your pickup truck, El Camino. You know, they were just great cars. Pulling up. Let it shift. It just wants to go. So what do I have to say about the 69? It's probably my favorite car of all cars. I love every curve on the thing. Watch this flow. Watch the flow of this line. It goes, it sweeps in here. You flow up here, and you go back down. And it goes there, and it repeats, and it comes back to the front. It's just every curve, every line is great. These wheel arches. Thank you for watching. I have some new stuff planned for the channel. Some GTA videos coming up. And probably do a follow-up on my 68's motor. So that is all in the works.